Alex Murdaugh was one of the most powerful attorneys in South Carolina. His family had run the region's top prosecutor's office for 3 generations. He was wealthy, connected, untouchable. Until June 7th, 2021. That's when his wife Maggie and his son Paul were found shot to death on their family hunting estate. In March 2023, he was convicted of their murders, sentenced to life in prison. It seemed like the end of one of the most shocking falls from grace in American legal history. Then, his conviction was overturned. Jury tampering. A retrial ordered. And on August 7, 2026, just days ago, his attorneys filed a bombshell motion. They claim the lead detective fabricated physical evidence presented to the grand jury. If that motion succeeds, Alex Murdaugh could walk out of prison a free man. The Murdaugh family had dominated the 14th Circuit Solicitor's Office, the Regional Prosecutor's Office, for nearly a century. 3 generations had served as the top law enforcement official across 5 counties of coastal South Carolina. Alex himself was a prominent civil attorney, handling multi-million-dollar cases at a prestigious law firm. He was wealthy, well-connected, deeply embedded in the local power structure. But behind that image, he had been living a lie for years. In the aftermath of the murders, it emerged that Murdaugh had been stealing millions of dollars from his own clients, exploiting grieving families, injured workers, and vulnerable people who trusted him completely. He eventually admitted to it. Millions stolen over many years. But the question that consumed South Carolina wasn't the financial crimes. It was whether this man had also murdered his own wife and son. June 7th, 2021. Murdaugh called 911 at approximately 10 p.m. He said he'd come home to find his wife and son shot to death near the dog kennels on their sprawling Moselle hunting estate in Colleton County. Paul, 22, had been shot twice with a shotgun. Maggie, 52, had been shot multiple times with a rifle. Both weapons used in the killings had been present on the Murdaugh property. Murdaugh claimed he'd been visiting his ailing mother and arrived home to find them. But investigators quickly began to doubt his account. Cell phone data, witness testimony, and most critically, a video found on Paul's phone showing Alex at the kennels just minutes before the estimated time of death. It placed him at the scene, exactly where he claimed he wasn't. The defense argued the kennel video proved nothing. The prosecution argued it proved everything. In March 2023, after a trial that gripped the nation, Murdaugh was convicted of both murders. Sentenced to life in prison without parole, he maintained his innocence throughout. Then, the case began to unravel. The jury foreperson came forward, claiming that Becky Hill, the County Clerk of Court who managed the jury, had tampered with jurors during deliberations, making comments suggesting Murdaugh was guilty, pressuring them toward a conviction. In May 2026, South Carolina's Supreme Court agreed. The convictions were thrown out entirely. A full retrial was ordered. But the jury tampering wasn't the only problem with the original case. Buried in the evidence was something largely overlooked at trial. DNA found under Maggie Murdaugh's fingernails, from an unknown, unrelated male. It's never been explained. So Murdaugh's defense team went to work, filing motion after motion. They want the indictments thrown out entirely, alleging a lead investigator presented fabricated evidence to the grand jury. They want that unexplained DNA sent to an independent lab for testing. And on August 14th, 2026, this past Friday, all of it landed in front of a judge. Judge Deborah McCaslin didn't dismiss the case, but she didn't hand prosecutors a clean win either. She ruled that Murdaugh's own testimony from the first trial, the testimony where he admitted on the stand that he'd lied about his whereabouts the night of the murders, can be used against him again in the retrial. under certain conditions. When you testify in a case, the judge said, there's consequences. She also made an unusual call. Murdaugh will appear in court in a suit, not a prison jumpsuit, unshackled. The judge said broadcasting him in prison clothes for financial crimes unrelated to this case could poison the jury pool before the trial even starts. And there's a new fight brewing over where the retrial will even happen. The defense wants it moved to Charleston. Prosecutors are pushing back hard, arguing it would be absurdly expensive. The trial's set to start the same week as the Masters golf tournament, when Charleston hotel rates can triple. The retrial itself is now locked in, April 5, 2027, 8 months away. And after Friday, at least one thing is certain. The fight over what jurors will and won't be allowed to hear has already begun. So here's where it stands. A conviction thrown out, a detective accused of fabricating evidence, unexplained DNA under his wife's fingernails, and now his own past testimony cleared to be used against him again. Do you think Alex Murdaugh killed his wife and son, or do you think the wrong man has already spent years in prison for it? Drop your theory in the comments. I read every single one, and the best theories shape which case we investigate next. If you want more unsolved American mysteries like this, subscribe to Case Closed Files and turn on notifications. New cases drop every Tuesday and Friday. Thanks for investigating with me. I'll see you in the next one.